Another kind of statement that really seems to be challenging for lots of people to defend is the disjunctive statement, the wedge statement, the either or statement. And just as with the conditional statement, I think that the difficulty lies in not fully appreciating what all a disjunctive statement is doing. Okay, so we look at an argument like this one: either assault weapons will be banned or mass shootings will increase. Assault weapons will not be banned, therefore shootings will increase. And the mistake I think that people make is they focus too narrowly on the pattern that they recognize in the truth table for disjunctive statements. And what they notice is that, gosh, if either one side or the other side, the statement on one side of the wedge or the statement on the other side of the wedge is a true statement, the whole wedge is true. So all I really have to do is go in and explain why I think these two statements are true. And it's like, no, that kind of misses the mark. Because a disjunctive statement is not just asserting that one of these two statements on each side of the wedge are true. It's also asserting that there's some kind of a relationship between these two statements. And a disjunctive statement is also asserting that there's no other likely possibility other than the two that have been identified in the statement. Okay? So there's the first couple of things that are really important to keep in mind. When you're defending a premise that's a disjunctive statement, you're bringing forth two possibilities to someone. And in order to effectively defend that premise, one of the things you're going to want to do is you're going to say, look, these are the only likely realistic possibilities that exist. There may be other possibilities that exist, but they're not really worth talking about because they're not very plausible. So for example, we have either assault weapons will be banned or mass shootings will increase. Or a nuclear bomb goes off and the whole world is annihilated and there's no people or assault weapons that exist anymore. Is that possible? I mean, theoretically, it's possible. Is it worth bringing into the conversation here? No. Okay, so we'd want to make really clear to our audience why we think the possibilities that we're presenting them in our disjunctive statement are the only likely possibilities. Okay, so here we'd want to explain why we think it's the case that either there's going to be some sort of legislative action that gets rid of assault weapons, being really detailed about what exactly that means. What are assault weapons? What are we talking about when we talk about banning? And why we think it's the case that if that doesn't happen, then mass shootings will increase. Okay, or if mass shootings don't increase, it's because of an assault weapon ban. So we're going to want to make sure that we explain why we think these two things are in some sort of connective relationship with one another, why these aren't just disparate phenomenon that we can separately prove true from one another. So either I'm sitting here talking to you about logic or you're eating blueberry ice cream. And I know that statement is true because I'm sitting here talking to you about logic and I have no idea whether you're eating blueberry ice cream. And the reason that statement is sort of absurd is because there doesn't seem to be any connection between those two things, okay? So when you're considering defending these disjunctive statements, make sure you're focused on why you believe these are real possibilities, that they are the likely possibilities, and that there are no other likely possibilities, okay? The other thing you want to keep in mind with your disjunctive statements is that sometimes a disjunctive statement is a tautology. In other words, it's a statement that can't be false, like this one. Either the movie theater is open or it is closed. Okay? Either the movie theater is open or it's not open. And if it's not open, it's closed. So there's no way for this sentence to be true. And so when defending a tautologous statement like this, we would simply say it's a tautology. And that's sufficient. And the only exception to that is if we think that it's likely or we think there's reason to believe that somebody could challenge us and say, that's not a tautology at all. And then we'd want to give some explanation of why we believe the statement is a tautology. But ordinarily, just identifying the statement as a tautology is a sufficient defense for a tautology.